Good evening, you're now with me, Lorenzo Isaac, for TVS Nightline. Here are the headlines for tonight. Sarawak government committed to advancing the BINTULU hydrogen project. Sarawak State Disaster Management Committee commences 24-hour operations. And Sarawak to adapt state's folklore into video games. The Sarawak government pledges its continuous support for the implementation of the hydrogen project in Tanjung Kidorong, Bintulu. The project is a collaboration between SDMC Energy Sendirian Berhad and a global multinational consortium. Deputy Premier Sarawak, Dato' Amar Awang Tengah Haliasan, expressed satisfaction with the recent progress in the planning of the hydrogen project, which is expected to commence operations in 2027.
Awang Tengah, who is also the second Minister for Urban Development and Natural Resources, shared insights following a visit by a delegation from South Korea to his office in Kuching on earlier today. Previously, the Premier of Sarawak, Datuk Patinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg, announced the implementation plans for two major hydrogen projects in Bintulu, namely the Hornbill and the Hibiscus project. Also present during the courtesy call were Deputy Minister of International Trade and Investment Sarawak, Dr. Malcolm Musen Lamo, representatives from Petroleum Sarawak Berhad, Petros, Sarawak Energy Berhad, and Invest Sarawak.
Meanwhile, Deputy Premier Sarawak, Dato' Amar Douglas Ukahambas, announced that the start of a 24-hour operations for Sarawak State Disaster Management Committee SDMC effective today. Uga, who is also the SDMC chairman, disclosed that all committee members representing their respective departments have been deployed, their officers to monitor disaster incidents around the clock and receive reports from all regions throughout the state.
Status terkini kita ada 4 pusat pembinaan sementara telah dibuka. Satu adalah di Balai Raya Kampung Asyari Kirin di Bintulu. Ini untuk menempatkan mangsa ribut yang berlaku kemarin. Ada satu lagi di Bintulu, pusat pembinaan sementara di rumah Steven. Ini untuk meletak mereka di SK Muput. Ada 25 keluarga melibatkan 52 ahli keluarga yang di rumah Steven.
He said this when contacted by TVS earlier today. Meanwhile, he revealed that all the committee members comprise the Sarawak branch of the Malaysian Civil Defence Force, the Malaysian Fire and Rescue Department, the Royal Malaysian Police, the military, district offices, and the Sarawak Department of Social Welfare.
Sarawak aims to adapt a collection of folk tales from various ethnic groups in the state into a video game. The State Minister of Tourism, Creative Industry and Performing Arts, Datuk Sri Abdul Karim Rahman Hamzah, said that this initiative highlights the government's commitment to preserve Sarawak's heritage in an innovative way, bridging tradition with modern forms of storytelling catered especially to the younger generations.
We are planning to go into this. We aspire to transform these stories into performing art and animation. Additionally, we envision some of these folk tales being adapted or adopted into computer games, bridging tradition with modern forms of storytelling.
Abdul Karim pointed out that his ministry allocates an annual fund of 10 million ringgit through the Heritage, Arts and Cultural Facilitation Fund as an alternative to support associations and organizations involved in the arts, culture and heritage, including the organizing of activities and programs. For the record, the Heritage Arts and Cultural Facilitation Fund in 2023 successfully produced 5 compilation of folk tales covering 5 different ethnicities: Iban, Bidayuh, Melanau, Chinese, and Punan.
Sarawak aims to increase the percentage of children receiving early education before entering formal schooling to 99% this year. The Minister of Women, Childhood and Community Wellbeing Sarawak, Datuk Sri Fatimah Abdullah, pointed out that by 2023, the total percentage of children receiving preschool education from kindergartens and childcare centres is at 98.71%. Fatimah shared that the Sarawak Early Childhood Development Council MPAKS would ensure that every child in Sarawak has access to early education.
So kita ada satu nanti jawatan kuasa khas untuk meneliti tentang akses ini. Kita nak lihat di mana apa puncanya. Kemudian di mana yang masih memerlukan akses kepada pendidikan awal kanak-kanak ini. So that will be deliberated in a subcommittee that would look at distribution of taska and tadika in Sarawak.
In this regard, she reiterated that the state is targeting 100% of children to undergo early childhood education by 2030. To enhance access to early childhood education in Sarawak, MPAKS is collaborating with agencies such as Sedidik Senjaran Berhad, the Sarawak Education Department, the Community Development Department or KEMAS, the National Unity and Integration Department, and the Kindergarten Entrepreneurs Association.
The Sarawak government will enhance the subsidies for childcare and early childhood education by an amount of 1,000 ringgit per year. Minister of Women, Children and Community Wellbeing Development Sarawak, Datuk Sri Fatimah Abdullah, said this subsidy is an effort by the state government to assist parents in need, especially those sending their children to private nurseries or kindergartens.
Jadi yuran subsidi ini adalah sebanyak RM1,000 setahun dan kelayakan adalah pendapatan isi rumah RM7,000 sebulan, bukan B40, atas sikit daripada B40. So maka layak untuk memohon maksimum bantuan yang diberi RM1,000 setahun. So last year this is okay, last year. We want to improve further.
She highlighted that 99.3% of parents in Sarawak benefited from this subsidy in 2023. The application for subsidies for childcare and early childhood education is online and will be open from March 11th to April 1st this year.
Tanjung Batu Assemblyman Johnny Pang Leong Ming gave his assurance that all victims affected by the windstorm incident at Iris Garden apartment will receive immediate assistance, including the restoration of damaged residents. He said that this during a special meeting of a Bintulu Disaster Management Committee chaired by Bintulu Member of Parliament Datuk Sri Tiong King Sing earlier today. Unanimous agreement was reached to aid those affected.
Our government already approved for the immediate repair all the roofing for the victims. So I think the officers now is on the ground to check everything. I hope in due course they will move back as a normal life. As you know, this now actually we are not siding on or putting blame on anybody, but as it is a disaster, sudden disaster.
Previously, in the incident around 2 p.m. on Thursday, 47 families involving 184 residents were affected after the windstorm tore off the roof of the 5th floor in 6 blocks of Iris Garden apartment. Currently, the 5 families are being sheltered at a temporary evacuation center at Ashikirin Village Hall, Phase 1.
Coming up right after the break, Ministry of Education vigilantly monitoring IDME system for optimal performance, and 9 KTMB stations to be upgraded, a new one built from ground up. Right here on TVS Nightline, stay tuned.
Adventure of the Lands takes you on a thrilling ride alongside passionate wildlife photography.
Welcome back. Introducing a fixed-term Parliament Act in the future does not qualify as undemocratic, as per the statement of Dewan Negara President Tan Sri Dr. Wan Junaidi Tuanku Jaafar. This is attributed to the implementation of similar systems in numerous countries worldwide, ensuring a specific term for government tenure.
He was speaking during a question and answer session on the topic of Anti-Party Hopping Act and government stability, which took place on Friday as part of the Bicara Tokoh program organized by the National Council of Professors, MPN. Nevertheless, Wan Junaidi said that in the event of the government deciding to implement the Fixed-Term Parliament Act, it will result in relinquishing the Prime Minister's authority to set the date for the general election. He explained that such a move would impact the Prime Minister's prerogative to request an audience with the Yang di-Pertuan Agong for the dissolution of the Dewan Rakyat. On January 13th, Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Ahmad Zahid Hamidi suggested the introduction of a bill in Parliament to maintain a stable government throughout its term. The proposal aimed to prevent the recurrence of past incidents, such as the 3 changes in the Prime Minister position during the 14th Parliament term.
The Ministry of Education is diligently overseeing the Identity Management System (IDME) every hour to ensure it operates at its best. Speaking at a press conference after attending the ministry's New Year message ceremony, its Minister Fadlina Sidek said that continuous efforts are underway to enhance the system, particularly to streamline the student assessment process for teachers.
Maknanya dalam konteks guru-guru yang menggunakan ataupun klien kita yang utama menggunakan sepenuhnya untuk maknanya untuk tujuan berkaitan dengan pentaksiran anak-anak kita. Jadi memang kita pantau setiap jam Datuk untuk memastikan ia berada dalam keadaan baik. Jadi pantauan itu cukup ketat dan tambah baik kita buat dari semasa ke semasa.
Yesterday, the media reported that the National Union of the Teaching Profession, NUTP, has requested the Ministry of Education to reconsider IDME's usage, proposing a preliminary test before issuing directives to teachers. Regarding calls from various quarters for a review of the Dual Language Programme DLP guidelines, Fadlina said that such issues should not arise as its implementation aligns with the Ministry of Education's aspiration to uphold the Malay language and strengthen the command of English language. The DLP was first introduced in 2016 under the upholding of the Malay language and strengthening the command of English language policy. Its purpose is to provide students with the opportunity to enhance their access to diverse fields of knowledge, fostering global competitiveness and improving employability in the job market.
A total of 9 Tanah Melayu Berhad KTMB stations in the Klang Valley are set to undergo upgrades, and a new station named Serembam Central Station will be constructed. Transport Minister Anthony Loke said the entire project is estimated to cost around 280 million ringgit.
Selain daripada pembinaan stesen baru ini, seperti yang saya telah umumkan, Kabinet juga telah bersetuju untuk menaik taraf 9 stesen KTM yang lain, termasuk Sarawak Selatan, Bangi, Pantai Dalam, Seri Setia, Batu Tiga, Padang Jawa, Klang, Jalan Custom dan juga Pelabuhan Kelang. Jadi kesemuanya ada 10 stesen, 1 baru dan 9 dinaik taraf. Ini merupakan komitmen kerajaan untuk terus memberikan kemudahan dan infrastruktur yang baik dalam sistem rel kita. Jadi ini merupakan hala tuju baru kerajaan di mana kita mahu menjadikan pengangkutan awam kita sebagai satu mod yang penting.
Meanwhile, work on the project will start immediately with the construction of the Seremban Central Station, which is expected to be completed within 24 months and will become a landmark in Seremban city. Regarding the construction of the Seremban Central Station, worth 170 million ringgit, he said the historical heritage of the original station will be maintained, as well as integrating aspects of modernity with a unique design using the Minangkabau concept. He said that with the completion of the station, which will be surrounded by various commercial facilities and infrastructure, including the state mosque and shopping centres, Seremban Central will be the heart of Seremban city development. At the same time, Lok said the KVDT1 project has now reached 97% and is expected to be fully completed by the end of April.
A hardened criminal with 25 criminal records was one of 2 men arrested after the suspect robbed a woman in front of a house at Jalan Intan Batu 3, Shah Alam last Saturday. Subang Jaya Police Chief ACP Wan Azlan Wan Mamat said in the brazen 6:30 a.m. incident, the woman was accosted by 4 men on 2 motorcycles before they grabbed her necklace and fled. The victim's son, who saw the incident, then chased the group on his motorbike and with the help of the public managed to apprehend a 33-year-old suspect at the entrance of Jalan Utara near the Federal Highway. Wan Azlan said further questioning later led to the arrest of a 30-year-old man who was also involved in yesterday's crime. Police appealed to anyone with information on the incident and the 2 other suspects still at large to contact the Subang Jaya Control Center at 03786 27100. Coming up next, Israel airstrikes follow lovers' quarrel with the US. Mysterious calls precede southern Lebanon attacks. Plus more world news on TVS Nightline after the break. And now on to world news. Southern Gaza became the victim of another bombardment after Israel engaged in a lovers' quarrel with its main ally, the United States, over the possibility of a Palestinian state. This comes after Washington said that the only pathway to a lasting peace is the creation of a Palestinian state. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken reaffirmed his support for a pathway to a Palestinian state during his appearance at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland.
However, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu outright rejected the notion made by Washington, emphasizing that establishment and acknowledgement of a viable Palestinian state are not under consideration. He claimed that the total victory entails, quote, the elimination of terrorist leaders, the destruction of Hamas' operational and military capabilities, and the return of our hostages to their homes, end quote, along with the militarization of Gaza. The Palestinian Red Crescent noted intense artillery bombardment in the vicinity of Al-Amal Hospital. Meanwhile, Gaza's health ministry reported 77 fatalities and numerous injuries from overnight attacks. Gunfire and airstrikes were reported early Friday in Khan Yunis, the primary city in the southern Gaza Strip, where Israel alleged that numerous members and leaders of the Palestinian Islamist movement Hamas are concealing themselves. Israel has pledged to annihilate Hamas, and its ongoing air and ground offensive has resulted in the death of at least 24,620 Palestinians, with approximately 70% of them being women, children, and adolescents, according to figures reported by the Gaza Health Ministry.
Since the onset of the Israel-Hamas conflict over 3 months ago, residents in southern Lebanon have received peculiar phone calls from Lebanese numbers and individuals speaking in Lebanese accents. The call goes as follows. Good morning, madam. This is the bank calling. Are you at home? Now, Lebanese security officials and Hezbollah, an ally of Hamas, assert that the mysterious calls are believed to originate from Israel.
The voices might say they are conducting surveys, distributing aid, and representing a public entity. However, they would usually inquire about the whereabouts of family members just before towns or homes are attacked by Israel. Just last week, Hussein, a woman in her 70s hailing from the southern Lebanese village of Qiyam, received a call claiming to be from the bank, urging her to collect money at a nearby branch. However, her grandson Hassan Shukir revealed that Hussein does not possess a bank account at all. Her grandson said shortly after the call ended, an Israeli strike hit the house adjacent to hers in the village. Similar occurrences have occurred in recent weeks across southern Lebanon, where Hezbollah has been launching daily attacks on Israel in support of Hamas since the outbreak of the war on October 7.
A Kenyan court yesterday charged the leader of a starvation cult with terrorism over the deaths of more than 400 of his followers. Self-proclaimed pastor Paul Neng Mackenzie and 94 other suspects pleaded not guilty to charges of radicalization. According to documents from the Mombasa court, the cult leader was also charged with organized criminal activity. Mackenzie is allegedly to have incited his acolytes to starve to death in order to meet Jesus in a case that horrified the world. He was arrested last April after bodies were discovered in the Shakahola forest near the Indian Ocean, with autopsies revealing that the majority of the 429 victims had died of hunger. But others, including children, appeared to have been strangled, beaten, or suffocated. Mackenzie's pre-trial detention in the coastal city of Mombasa was extended on several occasions as the prosecution asked for more time to probe the case. But last week, a court warned the authorities that it would release the former taxi driver unless charges were filed within 14 days. The grisly case, dubbed the Shakahola Forest Massacre, prompted the government to flag the need for tighter control of fringe religious denominations. Revelations that members of the far-right RFD discuss mass deportation plans are pushing tens of thousands of Germans to protest in the streets and sparking debate on whether the anti-immigrant party should be banned. From Cologne to Leipzig to Nuremberg, Germans across the country have mobilized over the last week, with another 100 demonstrations expected through the weekend.
Many of the demonstrations are held under the banner Together Against the Far Right, with Chancellor Olaf Scholz and Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock also joining a spontaneous gathering in Potsdam, where they live. Bundesliga coaches and church bishops have also issued calls warning against support for the FD, the manager of SC Freiburg, Christian Streich, saying that anyone who does nothing now has learned nothing from school or history. The sudden and widespread mobilization was sparked by a January 10 report by an investigative outlet, which revealed that FD members had discussed with the expulsion of immigrants and non-assimilated citizens at a meeting with extremists. Among the participants at the talks was Martin Sellner, a leader of Austria's identitarian movement, which subscribes to the Great Replacement conspiracy theory that claims that there is a plot by non-white migrants to replace Europe's native white population. News of the gathering sent shockwaves across Germany at a time when the FD is soaring in opinion polls, just months ahead of 3 major regional elections in eastern Germany where the support is strongest.
Japan's moon sniper was set to touch down early Saturday on the lunar surface, one of myriad new missions on the back of renewed interest in Earth's natural satellite. If its smart lander for investigating moon SLIM mission succeeds, Japan will be the 5th nation to pull off a fiendishly tricky soft lunar landing after the United States, the Soviet Union, China and India.
The Japanese craft, equipped with a shape-shifting mini rover co-developed by the firm behind Transformer Toys, has been designed to pull off the feat with unprecedented precision. If all goes to plan, it will land shortly after midnight Japan time within an area just 100 meters across, far tighter than the usual landing zone of several kilometers. Success would restore high-tech Japan's reputation in space after 2 failed lunar missions and recent rocket failures, including explosions after takeoff. It would also echo the triumph of India's low-cost space program in August, when it became the first to land an uncrewed craft near the moon's largely unexplored South Pole.
See the world closer with TVS as we bring you the latest news updates both locally and internationally. For more headlines anytime, anywhere, just head on to our official website at tvsarawak.my or follow us on our social media platforms. Those were the updates on TVS Nightline. I'm Lorenzo Isaac. Thank you for watching and have a good night.